Okay, we're gonna have a second round of the contest. Now, but a little trick that everybody yawn first. Everybody yawn. Feel what that feels like. That's what we're going for. I think Zach might have won this round.
He might. Gold medal.
Oh, so the yawn is a chanter's friend, you know. The yawn and the sigh, both of these kind of, you know, sort of wisdom in the body to give us this kind of a open channel for the light to pour through us. So welcome, KZOOMers, to this to this KZOOM of healing the broken heart, healing the broken heart of the world. And you know, as I was preparing for this KZOOM, you know, the idea of broken didn't sit exactly right for me, because it felt like that meant something was wrong. And if there's anything that kind of like illuminates my kishkas, you know, is the sense that there's nothing wrong, that there's a rightness, and that what looks like brokenness is something that is sending us on a journey, on an adventure, and on a, you know, into like a story, and
a different one, a different form.
Well, but it feels like brokenness very often, and that brokenness is really the is what sends us to the work, or it can shut us down as well. And they say that in the, you know, that there were two sets of tablets in the ark, the ones that were whole and the ones that were broken, because we need both of them. And what sent me to this kind of exploration of the broken heart is the line from the Song of Songs that you know, that will be kind of what opens the pathway for us. And the Song of Songs talks about this King Solomon, who represents, again, that place of the perfected being in us, who builds this incredible palace with all the grandest, most beautiful, most precious materials. And that's part of our spiritual work, is to turn our world into that majestic kind of a palace, of creation. But then there are these cracks, and the daughters of Jerusalem, which is also us, spiritual practitioners, the daughters of Jerusalem, inlaid it with love. Take those cracks in it, that place that looks like it's the foundation of this temple will not stand unless we bring our love to it. And that's a journey. That's a life path of stepping onto this journey and dedicating ourselves to bringing love to everything that we do. And with it, we heal ourselves, we heal the world. And I want to say that I was also kind of reminded of a couple of things that I was reminded of. The one of them is that this Japanese art called kintsugi. Kintsugi is this Japanese art of repairing pottery by filling the cracks with golden lacquer, and making the bowl that was cracked even more beautiful because of that, because of the designs of it. And some people even say that they broke the bowl on purpose.
To make it more beautiful.
Or maybe God broke the bowl on purpose so that we could do this incredible work. So what I realize is that if it's my heart that is broken, there's a danger in that brokenness, in that if I don't do the work of inlay, of bringing love to that heart, then the heart those cracks fill up with shame, or bitterness or anger, or there's dangers that are inherent in that broken heart that is sending us to the work. And if we don't do the work, it is at our peril. And I wanted to say also that when I was young, I was tremendously inspired by the cracks in the sidewalk where there were little flowers growing. And I somehow identified myself with those little flowers growing in the sidewalks. I mean, I also had some very weird relationship to those cracks, having to do with my mother's back breaking, and terrible guilt about stepping on those cracks, not wanting to step on them, but stepping on them anyway, and feeling guilty about it. But I really loved the cracks of where there were flowers that were growing, and you had to look very closely to find those flowers. But to me, it was like a sign of hope that could happen. And so when I was ordained as a rabbi, my students asked me if there was something they could give, and I wanted to have a talit, and I wanted it to be inspired by the cracks in the sidewalk.
The one and only talit inspired by
the cracks in the sidewalk. Because I felt like my relationship to the tradition was the relationship of those flowers to the sidewalk. Yeah. And I wanted to show it to you because I can. So those black bars felt like, okay, that's the tradition, is those black bars. and I can't do anything about them. I mean, they just are. I inherited those black bars that, that are the cracks in the sidewalk. But what it is that all of these flowers are growing.
Oh, yeah, now you can see them.
Yeah.
That's good. Good.
All those flowers are growing, and for me, it's sort of a sign of like life can come even even when it sort of seems like not a hospitable place, and this world is sometimes not a hospitable place, and yet something beautiful can flourish in the midst of it. So I wanted to just bring those images as our inspiration to do this practice, and it has an F and a C for those who are shruting, that says that is about that within the heart, that my own heart and within the heart of the world, my commitment is to bring love, even if it's only a tiny little flower in the cracks of things. That work is essential. So I want to ask everyone just to find in themselves the hopefulness, the courage, the chutzpah, to say, I bring myself to this work of healing, of filling those cracks with love, to make what is difficult and horrible somehow beautiful again. Yeah.
Ratzuf ahavah Tocho, 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 ratzuf ahavah ratzuf ahavah.
So I invite you to close your eyes, put your hand on your heart. Feel that place of vulnerability in the heart, and maybe the place of that deep wound that we all carry. And just imagine with your hand to be pouring love, pouring compassion. You know, and each of us is a microcosm of the whole world. My faith is that each of us does this work of healing of our hearts, that the heart of the world also heals. We can open our eyes and maybe pour some of that love out to all of these beautiful squares here. Oh, I'm calling you squares.
Circle of squares, even though it's a rectangle of rectangles. Circle of squares.
Just pour a little of that love out to these beautiful faces. So there is this story in in the mystical tradition that of Lurianic Kabbalah that says there was a tzimtzum, a contraction of the God force, and in that place of tzimtzum, there was a shattering that happened, a shattering of the wholeness of God, and all of the pieces, all of the sparks went out into the world, and our journey to wholeness is to be able to see, to find, to lift up those sparks and return them to the oneness. That's our work, and it's a path of really opening up a different way of perceiving this possibility of oneness. That it's all there, but there's a shattering, and we need, sort of like we're called into the work, and so hopefully we can do that work with confidence, with joy, with the sense that we're doing it together. And so I was just contemplating what it means to have this place in my heart get healed over a lifetime. And what I realized was that what was necessary, the necessary ingredient to it, was a sense of being held by God, by the oneness, by the universe, by each other. That sense of being held actually kind of stimulated that place in me that moves towards wholeness. And as long as I am sort of, struggling on my own and rejecting that sense of holding, which is actually always there, the healing doesn't happen. The wound festers. So I want to do this practice of that calls on God, the great mystery, the force of holding, and says, O healer, to the brokenhearted, which is all of us, which is the whole world. And this is, you do this thing. You bind up the wounds. The wounds will heal, but only if that binding, that holding, that embrace is there. And in a way, it feels very hopeful to me. It's like there's like, I don't have to stitch it all up. I don't have to find all the answers. All I have to do is surrender to being held, because that force of holding, it really is there. And I need to lean back into it in order to relax, to open, and
I got to be held before I can relax.
Yeah. So that sense of holding, and so I want to do this practice as an invocation to that aspect of God that holds us, that we can lean back into, that we can trust. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, Harofay Lish'vuray Lev, umechabes le'atzvotam, umechabes le'atzvotam.
Lish'vuray Lev Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Umechabesh le'atzvotam Umechabesh le'atzvotam Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Umechabesh le'atzvotam Umechabesh le'atzvotam Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Umechabesh le'atzvotam Umechabesh le'atzvotam.
And we'll chant it once more, and this time send that. It will be the arms of God. And imagine that you are holding someone who is in need, who is wounded, and our presence is holding them with joy, with confidence, with recognition, with compassion. Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Harofay Lish'vuray Lev Umechabesh le'atzvotam Umechabesh le'atzvotam. So I invite you to feel into your own heart of compassion. And feel that compassion going out to the world. And now take all of that beautiful energy in the heart and let's just lift it up into the high heart. So in that place between the throat and the heart, there's another chakra called the high heart, the heart of compassion. So lifting up all of that energy into the high heart. And again, from here, from the high heart, let's send it out to all of those, all of the suffering in the world. Send it out from the high heart of compassion. And know that when you're working with that high heart of compassion, you will not burn out. You will not be depleted. You're connecting to an infinite flow. And we can open our eyes and send a little bit of that high heart of compassion to each other. So this heart energy is so healing both for ourselves and the world. But we're not always available, as healers, because we have what I call the restless heart. And I want to do a practice, just working with our own heart energy. I call it calming the restless heart. And there is St. Augustine said to God, my heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. It's kind of the nature of our hearts to have that restlessness until we do this, like opening to the oneness, to knowing how to rest in God, and that feels like an important part of the work. There was one time at a KZOOM alumni retreat where I had everybody doing a little kind of a journaling, automatic writing exercise, and it was something in the Torah parsha was saying, like, what do you want? What does God require of us? And so I said after we chanted, I said, just ask that question, God, what do you require of me? And to write this. Do you remember doing this?
Yeah.
And remember and write it down and have a little dialogue with that force of wisdom. And I wrote what God was saying to me was, calm down. And then I wrote to God. I said, I am calm. and then God said, no, calm way down. And so sometimes I hear that direction in my heart. It says, oh, calm way down. And it's to think that and I realized the place that I thought was calm, it was like my normal. There was a few steps more that I could take in the calming of the heart.
It's amazing what we acclimate ourselves to.
Yes. So let's calm way down on the inside, and it's to me it's like how we become healers. From that place of the calm heart, and in a way it's like how God finds us, because there's a stillness there, that we can be found. So the words Ach Ayl-Elohim, it's like only towards God. Dumiyah nafshi is my soul turns in silent calm. It's like it's the turning towards God that allows my restless heart to calm. And so let's try this practice and get it, get the message inside us. This is back to a G and a C. Okay. Ach Ayl-Elohim, dumiyah nafshi. 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 Ach Ayl-Elohim, dumiyah nafshi.
dumiyah nafshi Ach Ayl-Elohim 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 dumiyah nafshi Ach
imagine breathing into the heart, calming the restless heart with a God breath in, filling the heart with that sense of dumiyah, of stillness, silence, calm. So there's a breathing exercise that I love. I learned from my teacher Sylvia Borstein. It's called calming breath. And with this breathing, it's like you pay special attention. You breathe out. And at the end of the breath, what feels like the end of it, you breathe a little extra out. And then you breathe in. The top of the breath, breathe a little bit extra in. And again, breathe out. At the bottom of the breath, just see if they can breathe a little extra out. And breathing in, find the top of the breath. And bring a little extra in. And now breathe out. When you feel like you've breathed out all the way, bring a little extra exhale. So just continue for a couple minutes, just paying attention to both the top and the bottom of the breath, bringing a little extra to each. So it's a way of deepening the breath that really kind of challenges our, the limits that we put on ourselves. So that when you think you've breathed out everything, no, there's a little more. And when you think you've breathed in everything, no, there's a little more. And in that way, there's a transformation of the rhythm of the breath, and it has the power to calm you. Like that?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to bring one more practice to our KZOOM. It's just a practice that I call wholehearted. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say that recently I read this book by Robert Ornstein called God 4.0. Mm-hmm. God 4.0. And it's a really interesting book. And it goes through kind of the evolution of what what God has been for people over millennium, and describes what God 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 has been over those millennium. And towards the end of the book, he introduces a kind of this idea of what God 4.0 might be, and God 4.0 to me, what I received from it is that there is this unity, this unity consciousness, and we are evolving towards being able to perceive that unity, and God is in the perception itself. God is in the knowing of God through that perception that is evolving through in us. And so that, it's like God is not a sort of an object that we perceive, but is the perception itself, is the power of knowing, unity, and so it was inspiring to me. And what I realize is that we can't know unity unless we know it inside ourselves. We can't just go out and perceive that. We find it inside and for me, what that means is becoming wholehearted. And I do that through the practice of gratefulness. If I can bring my whole heart to my gratefulness, then I have it sort of available, and in that wholeheartedness arises a perception of unity. It's like I can embrace the unity because of having, taken that pathway of wholeheartedness. And so it sometimes feels a little risky, a little vulnerable to be in that place of wholeheartedness, to give up kind of the duality of oh no.
There's a duality.
We usually hide. We usually hide the phone, and we forgot. So let's say Odeh Yah. Let's find our gratefulness and see if we can pour our whole heart. Chant is such an amazing practice because every repetition is a new opportunity to pour more in, to see what's left in us, and whatever we pour into the chant, it brings us to our wholeness. Odeh Yah b'chol libi. 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 Odeh Yah b'chol libi.
b'chol libi. Odeh Yah 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 b'chol libi.
Once more with your whole heart.
Odeh Yah b'chol libi. Odeh Yah b'chol libi. Odeh Yah b'chol libi. Odeh Yah b'chol libi.
So Rumi says that the wound is the place where the light enters you. And I think it is the place where that journey to wholeness begins, in that place of the wound. So the more we kind of come out of denial and kind of open ourselves in vulnerability, the more we can be sent on that journey, and also looking around the Zoom room, the KZOOM room, knowing that that you're not taking that journey to wholeness alone. We're sending each other, we are inspiring each other, we are encouraging each other on the path, and and we're kind of all in the same boat.
Hey, everybody. Wow. Sweet faces. Oh, my goodness. Such sweet faces.
So when we come through a practice like this, it's good if you want to take a few 10 minutes to reflect on the practice,